All right, folks, we're digging into April, and that means that it's time. So fresh and clean, clean. It is time to breathe lilacs out of the dead land, to mix memory and desire, and to listen to some good tunes.
I know it's what you crave.
First up, we have the album everyone is talking about. It's making waves. It's really great. It is A City Drowned in God's Black Tears by Infinity Knives and Brian Ennals. While primarily an edgy political rap album at heart, it brings diverse sounds like gorgeous indie folk and even some sludgy metal that I, certified metal non-enjoyer, can even get into in the context of this record. It just works. I don't click with metalheads. What am I missing? Let me know. Anyway, every departure from the main sound complements this album so well as we traverse disparate but compatible topics of depression, addiction, anger, systemic racism, and the intense violence that undergirds those systems. We even get a kind of quirky love song about his girl and her pretty feet. Pretty, pretty feet. Okay, so that song about the pretty feet honestly doesn't even feel out of place, despite being pretty much the only really happy tune on there. Reminds me of the Bluebell Bang Sesh in 1984, right? Boots on the neck, boots on the neck, bam, pretty, pretty feet on the neck. Very cute, very sweet. It is very cute and very sweet. I like that song a lot. It's nice. The production is often pretty weird. Like right out the gate with the iron wall, you get this rapid, unconventional bass drum on the beat that keys you into the kind of sounds and production that you're going to be in for. And then the very upfront rapping, fed up with the most heinous crimes of our time, present the lyrical tone as well. It's immediate. You hear the first song, you know what you're in for. There's a lot of anger, mourning, indignation on the track, positing questions like what kind of person could be born in America and feel entitled to land on the other side of the planet more so than people who were born on that land for generations. On top of the genre hopping, you also get a bit of an emotional roller coaster. There is emotion hopping. Parts of this album are alarming, adorable, endearing, sad, angry, and funny. A lot of this album is funny, right? A lot of rappers tell dad jokes. We don't think of it that way, but remember how crazy y'all went for A minor? I couldn't stop laughing at the part of the music video that's like it it gives me Dilbert 3 vibes, right? It gets me hype. Immediately, I heard that song and I knew I was in for album of the year contender territory. And the very fast rhythmic picking is very much up my alley, right? That folksy picking. Uh, you gotta check it out. You gotta check that album out. I'm giving this Infinity Knives release 8.2 net and yoo-hoos out of 10. Another interesting release this month was Davis Earthworks by Nathan Davis and Sylvia Milo. On my porch during the light rain, just after the sun went down, and I find this album. Throw it on, let it mix with the natural rain sounds, play it pretty loud, and oh my god, this is a very nighttime record. It's a very outdoors record. Musique concrète. How do I say that? I don't know French. Croissant, croissant. Ambient, textural, ASMR. It really paints a picture of physical space, of the shapes and textures of the acoustic environments interlacing with Milo's voice. It is cheery, illing. Wow. It is chilling, eerie, but relaxing. That's right. It's just so
Everything is so
beautiful
beautiful and lovely
and lovely and alive.
and
You shouldn't
alive.
say anything about
You
anything
shouldn't
not
say
being
anything about anything not being.
alive. This is reality.
This is reality.
But seriously, they were going for you to anthropomorphize environments as pulses, breaths. The artists encourage you to imagine the breath, the pulse, the life of everything around you as you listen, and in general. There's interesting themes of where is the line that is nature, right? Earth works with galvanized steel. There's a line somewhere. I would say the more pleasant sounds on this record are the more natural ones. Right? Excavation is not my favorite track because it's just not pleasant. Understand and agree with including it. Not that pleasant to listen to me. This album is a practical application of something I do all the time. A couple months ago, I heard this quote from optical poet, visual musician, animation pioneer, Oscar Fischinger. Everything in the world has its spirit, which is released by its sound. I think that is very much in the spirit of this album, right? Since reading the quote, I've thought about it countless times. It's like how painting can give you appreciation of the subtleties of light in everyday life. I swear, if you begin to paint, right? If you begin to paint nature, if you begin to paint realism, you will notice so much. You will notice so much more beauty in this world visually. And that's the kind of level that this album is working on. It is trying to cultivate a sense of finding beauty every day. It's trying to change how you think, right? This is a very, very ambitious record. This can strengthen your sense perception. This can give you the ability to engage with the world in a different way. I think that we are culturally conditioned to place too much value on sight. We say all the time how beautiful things look. Oh, they look so beautiful. But really, truly, you can learn so much of like what an item is, like the essence of an object, its beauty. Like it is incomplete to perceive a flower without smelling it. It's incomplete. And if something can make you utilize this sense that we use it to communicate, we use it to hear music, but we don't actually really use it very much to sense the world around us and understand it. Really, like rub your hand against wood, rub your hand against bricks, like feel how hollow or dense wood is through the sound. Use the sound to understand the object. And this album strengthens that by giving you the ability to hear these in-depth sounds and sort of picture the objects, right? It's one of those things. It's like an exercise in coming to understand the world better. And if you do this, your world will be richer. Just appreciate those sounds. Appreciate the sounds of the wind blowing through the trees and the feet clacking against the sidewalk and the tiny squeaking sound you get when you rub two pickles together. So go one step back further than Davis and Milo suggest. Don't just picture the life of matter around you, the essence of matter of life around you, but knock on the park bench to hear the denseness or hollowness of the wood. Think about how it was once a tree that was alive. Run your hand on the bark of the tree. Smell that smell, that smells kind of like, really? Just take it in with every sense, right? Maybe taste it. Very bad idea. Do not eat that. Right? So just take it all in, right? This beautiful, sensual tree, cut a hole in it, or maybe carve a branch into a
Breed lilac.
breed lilacs into the dirt. I'm gonna give this record 8 tripping tradwives out of 10. Speaking of loving Mother Nature, up next we have The Bell Tower, a very cinematic album by Rebekka Karijord. How do you say that? Internet's telling me it's pronounced Karijord. I hope that's right. Rebekka Karijord and Roomful of Teeth. It's my understanding that Roomful of Teeth laid down a bunch of vocal samples to be pitched and mixed by Rebekka Karijord. I'm getting a little bit of Juliana Barwick vibes from this, a little bit of Sacred Harp vibes. It is apparently made up entirely of vocals and vocal samples made especially for the project over a period of 6 years. I first put this record on and I was very taken back by the ideas presented. Karijord getting choked up talking about our common spiritual connection to the earth and the cruel realities of mourning Mother Nature as the climate deteriorates. It's so heartfelt. You gotta listen. You gotta listen to the first track, right? If you like the first track, listen to the rest of the album. But Lacrimosa, you have to hear it. I was so taken back by the ideas and the beauty of the sound that by the second or third track, when I started reading about this record, I was shocked to discover that it is entirely a vocal record. Sounds like there is some very heavy processing, pitching, treating the audio. It is actually entirely vocals at its base, right? It's going to retain some quality of that vocal texture by making everything out of these custom vocals. She's talked about the freedom of setting some arbitrary limitations for yourself, which is an idea I've heard echoed by a lot of other artists, as well as one that I personally relate to. Limitations are good, genuinely. Everything is nothing. Everything is nothing and nothing is everything. I don't feel comfortable giving this album a rating just yet because I feel like I have to sit with it more. Up next, we have Kyle Gordon with Kyle Gordon is Wonderful. This is a really fun record that parodies different genres. It's a big step up from his debut LP with jokes that land better, more diverse, and catchier instrumental backing. Like any great comedy record, the jokes are enhanced by the music and vice versa. His range in his vocal delivery and ability to hit the voices of the types of singers he's emulating makes it a lot funnier. Certainly helped by the fact that there have been so many ridiculous music trends. And Gordon brings a deep understanding of music to this project. There is a lot of political highlighting of the more absurd, problematic quirks of music's recent past, especially misogyny, right? Very, very prevalent thing in music of the recent past. We have tracks like We Will Never Die, which lampoons privileged Williamsburg hipsters who
Can't fathom pain.
it's a fun song. It's one that maybe does a little bit more to actually try to put you in the time, because a lot of the things that he says in this track don't actually feel like they would be in that kind of music lyrics, but maybe would be said by the type of people that listen to that. My Husband's Ghost is an interesting one. While it's one that I don't necessarily see myself returning to because it is imitating one of the worst genres, getting at the kind of bizarre distance of anything Christmas in a lot of more recent Christmas music. And I say more recent because anything after the 40s is recent as far as that genre goes. Anything more recent in the 90s doesn't even exist. I mean, it painfully it does exist, but it doesn't exist except Sufjan. Just a bizarre wasteland of a genre for the most part. Desperate for radio virality, songwriters of the 80s would reach for those make it sad and make it horny buttons simultaneously in this case. Um, it's funny how he nails that 80s Christmas tone, which doesn't really sound wintry at all. Like it's its own specific tone. I've been hearing those kinds of songs against my will in malls every Christmas season, and they still don't sound like Christmas. Not really even an attempt to sound like Christmas. It's like they know the Christmas music well went dry long ago, and they're still trying to just, Obama teat milk that Obama teat milk the cow. Yeah. Some of these songs are just bangers, especially the genres that always knew they were campy and whose charm comes primarily from their campiness, because that allows Gordon to lean into the same things that made the genres work in the first place rather than undercutting them. Like the new metal or grime tracks, Crawl to Me and Selecta, respectively. Blood on Me Trainers, nah, can't risk it. Deep love, knowledge, appreciation of music, the kind of parody that can only be done with a deep understanding and appreciation of the thing itself, which is most decent parody, right? Things converge into a little bit snarky territory if you're just parodying something you don't like. That's a much harder line to walk. But luckily, Gordon knows what he's doing. I am going to give this an 8.1 psychopathic thinkers out of 10. I think it's a good sign that his second record is so much better than his first. I think that means that Kyle Gordon will be with us for a long time. I'd like to see maybe a jam band. That would be fun. This ping pong ball was left over from a 4-pack that I bought to make Gansfeld goggles as a teen. Then I played quite a bit of beer pong with it, and now it is a clown nose. It's the circle of life right there. That's what it is. Up next, we have Genevieve Artadi collaborated with Norrbotten Big Band for an interesting prog jazz record called Another Leaf. Artadi brings some gorgeous, often vocalese style singing over very beautiful jazz movements, very beautiful prog rock movements. Personally, I have a strong preference for the jazzier sounds on this. When you get those unadulterated jazz keys, ooh. This album has been in the works by Artadi since before COVID. She has dropped 2 albums since then, so I imagine she had multiple projects in the works at once, as many artists tend to do. But the very real and very not Genevieve Artadi media host, Dina Bongero, offered some alternative explanations.
Was Artadi possessed by the spirit of perfectionism? Or could she have perhaps visited a dimension where time obeys an imperceivable set of rules?
Oh man, I am a sucker for campy green screen editing.
Obviously.
And the music videos for this release all have that campy green screen charm. Music links in the description as always, and I am also not going to rate this one because I want to sit with it. The ratings will come in the year review. You just wait. Subscribe, give me a like, and let me know in the comments, what do you think of these releases? If these songs were cartoon characters, who would they be?
I'm about to kill you to death. How'd you like a butterfly knife to the neck and it put... Hey, oi, 僕の CD が欲しいって仕方ないな。踊ってあげるよ。バルコフォルゴーレ We make a secret on the videotape. Don't be so worried, baby, everything great. Boing, boing.
And as it becomes more and more fun, they won't feel like they have a voice. And